All right. I am so excited to have you all here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. And this week, we have a very special guest, dear friend, Daphne McDonagh, who is an author, but also a multi-dimensional alchemist that literally walks with people, literally energetically walks with people on their healing journey. And it's even not limited to people, it's animals as well. It is energy. When she says multidimensional, it is absolutely true, because this wonderful human walks in many realms, many dimensions. She has spent soul time on the other side in a coma for many days. She has had experiences. And so, a little tangent, if you want to know more about that experience, check out her book, You Do You. But today we are going to focus more specifically on trying to tailor this episode to pets as spirit guides and how pets really come in to nurture our lives and all of that. But you know what? We're going to tangent wherever this really leads us. So all to say, Daphne, welcome to the show.
Hello, and thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, it's so great to have you back on the show. It's been what, a year, maybe? Year and a half? 2 years since you're on the show?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Time just kind of is irrelevant. You know that.
Yes, it's true.
It's been about a year, I think.
It's true. So let's dive into talking about pets here, because I know that you have a beautiful dog right now. You used to have two. Yeah. You have done so much work with animals, doing different light laser therapies with them. Horses, there's pictures all over your social media of working with horses and dogs, people as well. Again, when we say you work with all kinds, you really work with all kinds. In your experiences with that, what have you really noticed about the animal world compared to the human world?
Well, first off, I want to say I actually worked with a bearded dragon one day too.
Ah, fabulous.
That was cool.
Yeah.
What I've noticed about working with animals more so than people or versus is that animals are more open to receiving because they don't have the preconceived notions that people have. Mm-hmm. They are tapped in, they're tuned in, they get it. You turn on the light and they go, oh, okay. Like it was the best when I worked with the racehorses, because racehorses are always out. But when I would work with the racehorses, they would yawn. And that would, of course, worry the trainers, but I could help the racehorses to unwind from the stress and dis-ease that they were facing in their lives.
Right.
So that they could relax and be open to the healing that they needed.
That's amazing. Awesome. Well, because animals are really already 5D, right? Like humans, we're on the journey from 3D to 5D, and yep. And there are many that are making some great movement, but animals, nature, plants are already there.
Yeah.
Right. So I love how you said that animals don't get in the way. Like humans, we get in our own way all the time with everything and anything, but animals are just ready to receive frequencies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And when I got out of my own way to try and figure out how to explain it and just do it, that's the best way to explain what I do, because I listen to spirit. Or whatever words you want to use. God, universe, source, spirit, guides.
Yeah.
Whichever word you choose in your life for you. I get out of my own way and just tap in, and I'm a conduit. I have a funny story, actually. When people ask me, what do I mean by being a conduit? And like you explain it, Ginette, is, they come through you when you're channeling. Or you hear them as a medium. I joke that I'm like the toaster. Now there's a toaster and there's a plug-in. I'm the cord that plugs you into the wall. I joke that I help people make their toast.
Right. I love it. But it's applicable, right? That makes a lot of sense. And it's really true. So let's just touch on that before we dive further into the focus on animals. But you, during our session and during this recording today, you were going to offer some light and some energy. Am I correct in that?
We could.
Absolutely. So you have, how about you explain? So for those that are listening and not seeing the video right now, what do you have set up there in your room?
I've got a whole bunch of magic here. Okay, so I'll show you this. This is called the neutralization ring. This
Mhm.
is a sacred geometry tool. This takes out all the bad. I've got a little one of these on the bottom there.
Okay.
And then I've got what's called a sun ring,
Mhm.
which is sitting on top. I mean, honestly, there's so much going on. I've got crystals there. I've got clear quartz and smoky quartz and rose quartz and amethyst and selenite all on the pictures as well. And then I've got infrared light and violet light. So infrared works on the physical, which is bones, teeth, tendons, muscles, cartilage, and joints.
Mhm.
And then violet works on the deeper emotional and auric field. And then this is my portal, which is the step up from the lasers.
Mm.
So there's different frequencies in this one than is
Mhm.
in those ones. So
Amazing.
I work it all together.
Amazing. And so these are some of the tools that you use when you're working with animals, but also, so
Yeah.
that's when you're working face to face, but you also can use these exact same tools working distantly. So
Yes.
you're not, the beautiful thing about the energy coming from that and the way that energy moves is it's not limited to time and space.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's fantastic because I know there's a lot of people that I've connected with in which you've worked with them or their
Yep.
animals distantly, and
Yep.
they've really noticed the difference in the energy of the animal, in their ability to calm or to help their healing if they've got any kind of injury or illness.
Mhm.
So it's pretty significant. So I do want to say for everyone listening right now or watching, now that Daphne has this all on and it's got this beautiful kind of lilac-y purple fuchsia glow, you can really take in the energy through our conversation today because it is going to
Well,
help.
I have it right now on unwind and dissolve.
Beautiful.
So helping everybody to unwind and relax.
Ah, I love that. Okay, so as we have that beautiful unwind and relax happening in the background, I definitely encourage you all to take a nice deep breath and breathe that
Yes.
in. Let's get to animals. So like we said, like animals don't get in the way. Animals are just here to receive. But let's focus on the idea of animals as spirit guides, because I know that you've had some experiences in this. I have had experiences with my dog, Maddie. I've told the story. I have a whole podcast about it. But basically how she came to me in spirit form to tell me she was coming in. And when the spirit of her first came forward, I thought that meant I was going to have another baby. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not, nope, not happening. And she's like, no, I'm coming in with 4 legs. I'm
Right.
coming in as a dog. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I've never had a dog before. I don't know how to do this. I've only ever had cats. And she said,
It's okay.
don't worry, I will show you exactly where to go. I
Yeah.
will have all of this happen. And she lined up everything to the point of when I was like, once we knew the breeder, once we knew that there was puppies on the way, and I was like, how are we going to know which one is you? And she said, I will make it happen. And sure enough, the breeder kept her aside because I had told them the story. I said, there's this spirit guide coming in the
Yeah.
form of an animal, and I don't know which one it's going to be. And the breeder actually kept her aside, thinking they were going to keep her. But then when it was time for us to come and pick a puppy, she felt such a need to have to put that puppy in the mix. And sure enough, Maddie came to us and I was like, this is our puppy. And here she is. And she literally is a spirit guide in animal form. And so I know that you have had experiences like this. So what are some stories that you've had with your pets?
Oh my. Well, I mean, you know about my dog named Shiloh, who was with us. She was a border collie. She was with us for 13 years. She was also an animal therapy dog because of what I do. She would come in and help me with sessions and help take people's things away that didn't need to be there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But then my husband was wanting a hunting dog, a waterfowl dog. He wanted a lab because he'd always wanted a lab. And we have a friend who is a breeder as well, and they were having puppies come, and so we picked Gunner out of a batch of dogs right after he was like 5 minutes after he was born, because the breeder was sending us pictures as the puppies were being born.
Mm-hmm.
And he is the only red fox lab. Like he looks like a fox. Like I mean the color red. He is a red fox lab. And he loves energy, and he's a therapy dog, and because he's so tapped in. He is just amazing as well. So I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. And so when you talk about therapy dogs too, like that is such an example of how animals are tapped into 5D, like the energetics that we can't necessarily see, but we can feel if we're not in the way. And I mean, that's the experiences where dogs sense, different kind of, say, epileptic seizures that are about to happen, or heart issues that are about to ramp up, or, like they can sense these things because they are tapped into that energy.
Yeah,
right?
They are. And you can't train that. Like seeing eye dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they do go to school for, to learn how to work with people who are blind, or blind people. But I mean, animals just know. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. When I was in the hospital after my massive closed head brain injury, they brought my barrel racing horse to the hospital. Now, my barrel horse was never one to stand still. She was always like a thoroughbred and prancing, never stood still ever. They brought her to the hospital. They brought me out in the wheelchair. I stood beside her and she didn't move a muscle because she knew.
Amazing.
Speaking about animals, it's funny. Every time we go to my parents' place, my dad will talk about stories how when I was little, he would put me on the horses that nobody else, no grown man would ride because they know. Because they know that we're not there to hurt them. They know that we're there to love them. And they, they're just there for us. That's why they were created.
So did you always know about your deeper connection with animals, or was it something that became more apparent like after your accident, or what would you say?
First of all, I'm going to tell you, I'm switching the frequency from unwind and dissolve to relieve and sacral. So we're going to relieve her.
Amazing. So,
I don't know. Maybe people will be able to tap into it.
I
mean, I was blessed to do a session this morning, and so I'm already there. But for some, I wish that I could show you this closer. But
it looks great. Yeah, it looks great from here.
I'm sorry, I lost track of what I was saying.
That's okay. So did you always feel that you had this deep connection with animal healing, animal communication?
Yes.
Yeah. So you just came in knowing
But it's funny because I mean, before my massive closed head brain injury, I was going to be a veterinarian. From the time I could talk, I was going to be a large animal veterinarian. I didn't realize that other people couldn't hear animals. I can hear what they're saying. I mean, I know you can too.
So how do you hear it? Like when you hear animals, I have a harder time hearing animals. If they're in spirit, way easier. If they're in animal form, it really depends. It's not as easy for me as it is communicating with spirit. But how do you hear them when you hear them?
Honestly, it's a voice in my head. And it's really very interesting how if somebody's booked a session for me to come work on their animal, or somebody's booked a session for me to work on their animal on the other side of the world, I will get a picture of the animal because I have people's pictures underneath the pyramid there. Oh yeah, I forgot to say there's a triple pyramid there as well. Beautiful. That works on the energetic and etheric, body, mind, and spirit. But anyways, sorry. I will tap into that animal and the animal will send me where their pain is so that I can feel it in my body, which is kind of annoying sometimes because sometimes I'll get pain and I won't know where it's from. Like there was one time I was working at the World Canadian Dog Show and I had this pain in my shoulder and I had no idea where it was coming from. And then I had this beautiful Dalmatian come to be served, get a session for me. And it was that dog. And I helped the dog and the shoulder pain went away. So I was like, okay.
Yeah. But I mean, like, doesn't that just make so much sense? If we try to use some observable qualities of the animal world, is we can observe them communicating through the subtlest movements, or like an eye twitch that we would think is a twitch, or a subtle head tilt, or so much of the way in which they're communicating together is energetically. So when you are, or people are vibing in that 5D frequency, you're going to pick up on the energetics of all things, of your pet, of the natural world around you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's just something that you've naturally always done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I say it in a way that I had to come to terms with it too, right? I mean, I realize now that what happened to me, and you talked briefly about the energetics of me being on the other side for 18 days, you know, so I could unlearn all the limiting beliefs that I learned in my first 15 years of life, so that I could remember from other lives all of the things that I had learned then to bring here forth now.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes.
know, and I realize for some listening to this that might be a little out there for them, but is there a better way that I can explain that, Miss Ginette?
No, I mean, I think it's so true. Like those days you spent in the coma were really an opportunity for you to clean out any kind of human limiting beliefs of what is possible. And ever since then, you have lived, I mean, as I've known you, very unlimited,
See, and
right?
I like to use the word infinite.
Infinite. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to say it. And
Because when you say unlimited, the word limited is in there. But when you say infinite, the possibilities are endless.
that's very true.
I'm
That's
just
very
saying.
true. Yeah, no, and I think that's absolutely true. And I think that same mindset is where the animal world is.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why
Yeah.
I would imagine your ability to connect with them is even more easeful and graceful, right? Since your accident. And I love the fact that they brought your horse to the hospital.
I had it on videotape for the longest time, but I can't find the darn videotape now.
Ah, that's
But
amazing.
yeah, they well, because at the Glenrose Hospital in Edmonton here, they would bring dogs into the hospital. They wouldn't let my horse come into the hospital, so I had to
Right.
go.
Right. Fair. Fair.
Just saying, they wouldn't let my horse in, so I had to go outside. But
Yeah.
it was unbelievable how she stood still the
Mm-hmm.
entire time.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't move
Yeah.
because she knew that I didn't have the reaction time that I used to have,
Mm-hmm.
which is, mind blowing all in itself. That she would know that.
Yeah. Absolutely. So here's a question for you. What do you think about I've had experiences with this, so I'll share in a moment, but I would like to know your thoughts on what you think about pets reincarnating again into the person's life. So multiple times that same soul or soul aspect is reincarnating again as a companion, a furry companion. Have you ever experienced that?
See, now this one here, okay. So first of all, I just switched it to the miracle frequency, because
Okay,
I love the miracle frequency, and induce. So we're inducing miracles as we have a conversation.
beautiful.
And then I won't get distracted and I can talk to you better.
Okay.
Um, yes, I believe myself, I believe that animals can come back.
Mhm.
I believe that Gunner is actually maybe Kelly or Bandit, which was a dog that we used to have.
Mhm.
Actually, I believe that Gunner is Bandit.
Mhm.
But I mean, I everybody has their own belief system. Some
Mhm.
people believe that after you pass as a pet, you come back as, say, a human.
Mhm.
Like there's some people that believe that there's a progression of, you start as a plant, then you go to this and different. I mean, to each their own. For
Mhm.
myself, I believe that you could come back as a pet many times if you so chose.
Mhm. Yeah, me too. I've, from what I've seen with spirit too, is it's really each lifetime is our opportunity to choose how we want to incarnate. And
Mhm.
for many spirit guides right now too, they are able to come in as an animal because there will be less conditioning, less ancestral baggage and all of that, and they can be in more of their pure form. And so I have seen in a couple different sessions where a pet has come back a couple times and finds a lot of purpose in being able to continue their journey with that person as a guide incarnated, but they're just coming into forms that only have a certain amount of time available in existence, right? Like a lifespan, but they can then come back and then come back and then come back.
Well, and I mean, Shiloh, I mean, she was with us 13 years. For a border collie, that's a long time. And she lived a really good life, you know. But just after we got Gunner, she got sick. But I believe she was sick before we got Gunner. She just didn't show it because she didn't want to leave us. But then when we got Gunner, she told him, you know, okay, you're here now, I can go. And she went.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you helping us with that transition because she went on the winter solstice. You know, she was created Christmas Eve.
Beautiful.
You know,
it's pretty divine.
You know, and we buried her at the farm on, you know, the summer solstice. So
yeah. So I guess too, then we could say that with reincarnation as pets too, it wouldn't be limited to a dog or a spirit coming in as a dog and then coming back as a dog. That spirit could come in as a dog, but then also come back later as a horse. And then maybe later as a cat. Because again, it not only is it to help us, but they are also gaining amazing insights in every incarnation. So they may change what type of incarnation they wish to have while they're helping to be a guide in our lifetime. So, I mean, I would say one of the most important things I would encourage anyone, and if they're wondering, you know, is there a soul connection? Is this a reincarnation of this or that? Two things. One is trust the vibes that you're getting. Trust the feel. If you're feeling that there's a something to do with it, you know, there must be some soul essence, then there most likely is. And then number two is to really consider maybe changing some of the older narratives we have on reincarnation, that it is something new or new life, but it is new, but it's also a carrying on of the soul journey. And so instead of life starting and ending and starting and ending, it really is continually morphing and changing. And growing.
100%. I would agree with that 100%. When you mentioned about, you know, people coming back, I thought of the movie Soul. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen it, and I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it by now. But it's so cute because he was a man and he came back as a cat. You know, and he got to experiencing things as a cat, and then he got, you know, and then he came back into his body. You know.
Oh, absolutely. We've had all kinds of incarnations, and if we use your idea of infinite, we have an infinite, amazing amount of ways to incarnate also. I mean, I have memories of being a cedar tree. It was an experience for about 300 years that I was a cedar tree. And that life came after a very, very challenging, expansive, energetic life as a human.
So you needed to rest for 300 years.
So I needed to rest, but still have an opportunity to observe things unfolding on this planet, right? So I think those times where people feel maybe their animal has a bit of their mother's soul essence in it or something, like there is an infinite amount of ways that we can experience soul expression. Yeah,
I agree 100%.
Yeah, amazing.
100%.
Oh, that gives me chills, but I love it. So what have you, do you have any of your favorite stories of animal healings, like some beautiful, miraculous, what are your standout ones? Because I know people ask, like, what is your standout reading? And like, we all have a handful.
Well, actually, okay, so if you want to stand out, it would have to be the first time I ever tried distance healing. Because I mean, I had all these fabulous tools, and I was actually at the time working with World Agility dogs in person to do sessions on them. But then one of my friends who had an agility dog, she had a friend in Europe who had a little puppy that had back surgery and wasn't walking. And she asked me, she said, do you think you could help this puppy? I think I've told you this story before, but she said, do you think you could help him? I said, well, it's not going to hurt. So, you know, I got a picture of this puppy and I started treating the puppy, and a week later it was running around like it wasn't even injured. So, I mean, I would say that would have to be my best. I mean, I've helped people and animals in New Zealand and in Europe and in the States and all over Canada. So,
well, yeah. And I mean, you've helped me. I know you've helped me break fevers before, when my body just couldn't quite hack it. And then you're like, hey, how you doing? I'm feeling like I need to check in. And I'm like, oh gosh, I have this fever. It's been so many days. Nothing's working. And you're like, okay, I'm just going to send some energy and some light. And then sure enough, you text like 4 or 5 hours later, how you doing? It's like, my fever broke. Amazing. So,
Well, I remember actually when you went in for your surgery, when you had your NDE, I was actually distantly treating you that day too.
oh, amazing.
I don't, because I remember you had asked me to. I don't know if you actually remember that or not,
No, I
but
don't.
yeah, you had let me know when you were going in for your surgery. You said, this is what I'm going to be in surgery. So if you could please send light. So I did,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of your amazing story with that.
Well, I mean, I bet that helped to color the whole experience and remember it all too. So that's fantastic. Yeah. Amazing. So any other things you want to share about pets as like a spirit guide? How can we tune into our pets? Like so you can naturally communicate with them, but how would you encourage others to start to open that communication with their pet? What sort of things should they look for or feel for?
First thing I would recommend is shut all electronics off. Put your phone down, shut the TV off, and just sit and be with your pet.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a horse, go stand in the field. Just stand with it. It's a dog, just sit on the floor, sit outside. I mean, it's Canada, it's cold right now. It's a minus 17 here. So I'd say sit on the house in the house.
Right.
But just sit in quiet and feel and ask, is there anything you want to tell me? And listen. And I realize that sounds really, really simple, but it doesn't have to be hard.
That's true.
Like when you're talking about all the different infinite possibilities of lives, look at our Akashic records. Yeah, you know what I mean? We have the infinite capabilities here on the planet right now. And pets are here. I believe pets are here to be the expression of love that we are to share with the world. Because really, honestly, Ginette, if we all loved everybody like our pets loved us, can you imagine how amazing this planet would be?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like I got goosebumps when I said that, and I got a tear in my eye. Like really, it's that simple. It doesn't have to be hard. It's really simple.
Yeah. They are truly the most unconditional form of loving energy. And I love how you said just to like turn everything off and sit with your pet, because I have done that with Maddie, and over time I've been able to, I mean, I can connect with her sometimes energetically or hear something from her. I can't with my cat. I just get nowhere. But I've started to learn in those quiet moments of just being present, like not being busy or trying to make them do something you want or training them. It's like connecting with them. I now know how to read so many more of her little expressions, like her little half wink where her eyes close is her I love yous, or whatever she would express in that feeling. And her pause when she kind of needs them at you is when she's trying to hug you back, or like all of these little cues and stuff that we can really take in communication and almost use those to communicate back with them. Right. And then we're really building this beautiful level of communication. But like you said, if we don't slow down and quiet everything, we're going to miss those cues. And then those cues, though, once we start to recognize the physical cues, we then can pay attention to the energy that we feel in it. Right. Like, what do you feel when you get the little eye squint? Right. Or what does that make you feel? And I can just imagine, like the infinite ways we can express those communications.
And Gunner's the cutest, because if he's being mischievous or whatever, he'll lay there, and it's so cute because he crosses his paws like this and he sits all proper, and then he'll wink at you. It's like, would you stop?
Yeah, totally.
He's like, just giving you little gears.
They're so cute. They're so cute.
They are so cute.
And I want to say too, in terms of pets as a spirit guide, a lot of people will ask, like, where does my pet go when they cross? I have seen lots of pets come through in readings. Sometimes they'll talk really clearly. Sometimes they'll just be there. But like one of the things that people really worry about is, did they go somewhere else? Do they have a soul? Do all this, yada, yada. You will see your pet on the other side. Absolutely will. They don't cease to exist, and they could very well come around again while you're still living.
Yep.
Yes. Amazing. Well, Miss Daphne, any other thoughts you would want to share? Anything you want to leave people with? Projects you're working on? Where people can find you? What's going on?
Oh my goodness, there's so much going on. People can find me, daphneshealinghands.com. I mean, maybe we can just put that in the link below. That's my website is Daphne's Healing Hands. On Instagram, I'm crystal_healer. I've got Facebook page, Instagram. I'm just sharing love and light with the world. I am working on some stuff in the background here.
You've written your book. You've written your book. So if people are wanting to know about your story or your inspirations, they can find your book on your website and Amazon.
You betcha.
Yeah.
It's funny because my publisher, she's giving me the gears. When are you doing your next book? I said, got other stuff I got to work on first.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I love that I have been able to tap into being able to send the energy around the world.
Yeah. Infinite access, right? You've really created that into your reality, and that's amazing.
And that's the thing that I'm trying. I am working to. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. I'm leading by example. You can do, be, and have whatever you choose. Whatever you choose, you can be and do that. And I am living proof. I mean, they said I wasn't going to live, but I did.
Yeah, that kind of changes your perspective on everything, hey?
Well, and that's just it. And it's the day before the full moon, Ginette.
Yeah.
And this is a big, powerful full moon. Like all the planets were, lined up last week, and there's lots of stuff going on right now.
That's true. So I do have to say the day that we're filming this is March 6th. So we've got the Virgo full moon and we've got Saturn moving into Pisces tomorrow, right? This is a power-packed month. So yeah, lots of energy available.
And I say, because I believe that the full moon is when you're to release all that which you no longer need to carry to make room for the infinite abundance to come in.
Absolutely.
The choice is yours.
It is. And we can find that and amplify that when we connect into the natural world, and really take inspiration from our pets and the animal world to help us harness and embrace and nurture the relationships in our human world.
Right. Okay. So, and I know that you have an amazing YouTube page that, I've watched you grow and build. I love watching. Some days I don't get a chance to watch it, but I try and watch every day.
Oh, you do. And I see your comments. Honestly, you're being truthful. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Well, I love watching the messages that you share with the world. So if it's okay with you, I have this beautiful Magic of the Unicorn deck. I don't know if you have this deck or not.
No, I don't. No.
It is amazing.
Beautiful.
I don't even want to know how many decks you have, actually.
Oh, I have 3 shelves dedicated to different decks.
and near at hand is my Avalon deck as well. But
I love that.
The Magic of the Unicorns deck is the one that's been calling to me lately. And so before we started our call today, Spirit, whatever word you choose, I heard the message to have this deck nearby.
Perfect.
Because it asked me to, pull a card for us, the collective here today.
Let's see it.
Okay, and it is access your gifts, explore your treasure chest, accept who you truly are.
Oh, that's beautiful. That? Yeah.
A little closer.
That's perfect. That's beautiful. Isn't that true? Isn't that literally what the universe is asking us right now? Like, tap into you.
Yeah.
explore you, be you, express you, and all things will fall into place.
Well, and it's funny, I've got a friend who's, just sold her house here in Edmonton and doesn't have a plan. I mean, they're working on, but nothing's set in stone yet for where they're moving to. And then I told her, I said, it's okay. I seen her on Friday. I said, it's okay. Everything's going to come together exactly as it's meant to. And sure enough, they got a house today.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that.
So when we slow down in life to listen to the amazing infinite abundance that surrounds us.
Absolutely. Magical things can happen.
Life is magical. You know that.
Life is magical, and our pets are magical. And they can just really help add so much abundance into our life too. Hey, moments, clarity, messages, comfort, love. They really, I just think in so many ways are these beautiful little guided, not little as in smaller than, but I just mean, a lot of us have little pets. Not all of us have horses. Some of us do. Some have llamas. Anyways, it's really take the cues from the spirit world, take them from the animal world, take them from the plant world. There is so much more working in favor of our growth and ascension, and that really helps us bring in abundance. Yeah. So, Daphne, I want to thank you so much for joining me on the show again. It has been so lovely to connect with you. Thank you for sharing the beautiful energy throughout the whole session. I hope everyone's feeling the comfort and the ease and grace in their whole being. And I look forward to having you back on the show again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a magical day.
All right, everyone. See you next week.